the orchestra and I have a long relationship here, and this has really felt like one of our second homes. And there's something which is beautifully symmetrical about the idea that we were just before the lockdown and kind of right after it. Because so often, I mean, for instance, in our country, the orchestras were some of the first people to be put out of work and some of the last people to be put back. So that this is another opposite symmetry. When we first went back in May and we played our first concert back at home in the Barbican, I think none of us were prepared for how emotional it would be. The sound of silence with people is a full silence. When you play to this mysterious void, it's cold, it's empty. When people are there, it's an entirely different thing. When we were able to go to Aix-en-Provence to play Tristan all summer, so the orchestra had 5 weeks in France, which seemed like complete science fiction. The first time, nobody had actually told the orchestra that as of the week before, the government there had allowed there to be a completely full audience. So when we came in, we suddenly saw all the seats filled. This was also a thing, I mean, many of us were in tears, because you realize then just how much you miss it and how important it is to us. I think so many artists had a little crisis of who they are in this time, and realizing that, yes, we are addicts and we need this. This is what we do. Well, this is a very special piece anyway. And there's kind of a little story behind it, because about, I suppose, 3 years ago, I had the idea I should really ask composers who is writing extraordinary music who I've never heard of. And from a luminary of around my own age, like George Benjamin, to young composers, particularly in Europe, almost everybody came back with the same name. And I thought, oh, this is extraordinary. I do not know this name. So I asked Magdalena, because he's Czech. She said, no, absolutely not. And in fact, I mean, he is unknown in the Czech Republic because he never worked there. He left as a student. Typically long and convoluted, as it often is with composers. But Ondřej, when he bought every recording Magdalena's ever made, from Monteverdi and previous to Berio to whatever, to see the range of it. But I think the most important thing was when they just sat down and spoke, and he realized what a deep speaking voice she has. And to our complete horror, the first thing that came back was all basically in the baritone register, where she had never sung, and indeed had no idea she had a voice there. And when she started singing in our little music house in the garden, our children would say, who's making those noises there? I said, well, that's Mum singing. They said, no, come on, that's somebody else. So actually it was a matter of discovering a different type of voice and persuading Ondřej that, yes, please let Magdalena sing. Sometimes, I mean, this is a great singer with a wonderful voice. Don't only make sounds or machine music, which is what he had started. And so it was a long process of trying to get it. No difference. If it's great music, it's great music. I mean, Bruckner is a very particular other type of problem, if you call it a problem, because the arch is so long and you have to concentrate it. It's a very different way of playing. But on the other hand, the very first 2 bars of the Bruckner, where the strings play tremolando, but it should actually sound like the planet breathing. It's rather similar to Adámek. Bruckner doesn't ask the string players actually to breathe and sing, But in a way, it's the same thing. It's this gigantic landscape of as Adamek's piece is called, Where Are You? I think a lot of Bruckner's pieces could also be called, Where Are You? No, conducting, it's one of the great fake professions. Without the orchestra, we are completely helpless. I mean, we're insects on our back. And of course, every orchestra has their sound and their tradition of what they do that they carry with them. But it's developed together. For the LSO, which is an incredibly rhythmic, concentrated, quite fierce orchestra, and always was, you have to find a different type of sound for Bruckner. We are all aiming towards one kind of goal, but with each different player and each different personality, they can lead you also in a certain way. I mean, it depends what the personality of the orchestra is also. With the London Symphony Orchestra is an unusually focused and professional group. You don't have to persuade anyone to come into work. It's very disciplined and with a great deal of humour. And if there's something difficult to sort out, humour is often the way to sort it out, at least with these players. You have to judge the atmosphere of the room. And there are some orchestras who put things together very quickly. There's some orchestras who really need a longer arch. With each orchestra, you find a different way. You find a different way to work. And you have to judge when you're losing them, or when they're too tired, or whether they've given it everything. And this is something where you have to sniff the air. What I remember here is just simply coming the first time and playing for a few minutes with the orchestra, and us all going, oh, this is a place you can play music. It's not always so. It's a beautiful hall, and everybody is welcomed here in a very special and very warm way. In a way, that's the most important thing, when you realise you're in a place which will let the garden grow. And this is one of those.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.